أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه. My dear brother, my dear sister, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yesterday I attended the annual general meeting of the Muslim Council of Britain, MCB, and the affiliate representative came from all over Britain to the conference yesterday, AGM. They elected a new body, a new Secretary General, and the new man in charge is called Dr. Shuja Shafi. He's a medical doctor, retired now, and he was Deputy Secretary General. He took over now from yesterday as Secretary General of the Muslim of Britain. They gave us folder. In the folder, there is a leaflet, and it's mentioned about female genital mutilation, FGM. Female genital mutilation, some people call it circumcision for girl, which is very common among Somali and is in many African countries, also in Egypt, etc. Female genital mutilation. So I thought I'll make you aware. They have a lot of leaflet in the office, Muslim Council of Britain, and they mention, if I give you the main idea, because many Muslims do not know, many Somali do not know, if you arrange female circumcision for your daughter and you are here in Britain, up to 14 years in prison. Remember that. Illegal, criminal. You cannot do that. I know some maybe Somali trying to find someone sometime in Britain, or they take their daughter to Somalia or any other place. You cannot do it, especially if you are a resident in Britain. Even if you go abroad, you cannot do female circumcision in Britain. It's very important to remember that, my dear brother, my dear sister. And they mention non-Islamic, against the teaching of Islam, bring Islam into disrepute, is putting the health of our daughter, sister, mother, wife at great risk, is illegal in the UK, carry prison sentence up to 14 years. And the Imam Abu Sa'id, chairman of Islamic Sharia Council, the statement from him here, Sharia Council in London, and the Muslim College and Muslim Council condemn the practice, and they mention Islam did not ask us to do female circumcision. And another sister, Uneza Malik, talk also about putting the health of girl, daughter, woman at great risk. It can give pain, bleeding, infection, difficulty with childbirth. And they mention many organizations, especially the big one, Forward, who can be consulted if anybody wants to know anything. And they mention the police. People will report. Now the people report to the police to take your husband if you arrange or involve in doing female circumcision to your daughter. And I know my colleague, Dr. Yunus Tinaz, he was behind this useful leaflet and awareness, especially among Somali community. He is Dr. Yunus Tinaz, fellow Royal Society for Public Health and Forward trustee, organization called Forward, and he is a trustee. So I want you to be aware of that. And in fact, whether you, Somali organization, Somali Imam, should organize conference and discussion about this issue. We don't want you, mother or father, to be in prison for doing this. And there is no Quranic ayah, there is no hadith ordering us like circumcision for boy. We don't have that. You should do circumcision for your daughter. In fact, as far as I know, there was no single case circumcision among Prophet Muhammad daughter. You know, no female circumcision among his daughter, among Sahabi, you know, daughter, wife, etc. So please be aware, and it's criminal. The other criminal things today, from 16th of June, anyone involved in forced marriage. You know forced marriage? Forcing your daughter especially to get married. Anyone involved in forced marriage, prison up to 7 years. That's a lot, isn't it? Prison up to 7 years. Unfortunately, there is this cultural habit, commonly among Bangladeshi Muslim, Pakistani Muslim, you know, and some Indian non-Muslim, you know, Hindu or other, they do this arranged marriage by force marriage. We are not talking about arrange. You can arrange people to meet and they have freedom to decide. Consent. Iznaha. Islam, marriage based on consent. Iznaha. Sometimes iznaha could be samtuha, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she kept quiet, she raised no objection. You know, so we are living in Britain here, you are not in Somalia or Bangladesh. You are not in Pakistan. You have to understand the culture, the environment, and to know the law. From today, it's illegal. Mother, father involved in forcing marriage on their daughter or their son, commonly daughter. Bangladeshi, Pakistanis, they take their daughter, Bangladesh, Pakistan. And on top of that, this wrong thing, another big wrong. Not big wrong, but not advisable in Islam. They organize the marriage of the daughter here to marry cousin in Bangladesh, cousin in Pakistan. Islam discourages to marry from your own family. This is a fact. Islam loves you to marry far away, new tribe, as they say. More knowledge of other, to have more harmony with other community. You know each other. You know, there are ahadith, there are aqwal. Umar al-Khattab, famous in his saying, اغتربوا لا تضوا, marry far away, otherwise your children will be sick, which is true fact today. Not all cousin marriage, by the way. We're not saying all of them, they have disease. We're not saying forbidden. No, I'm not saying that. You can marry your cousin marriage. But medically proven fact, cousin marriage carry higher risk of congenital abnormality, disability in the children. Higher. And a lot, by the way, of people, English, non-Muslim, they don't marry cousin, they do have congenital abnormality and disability. So medically and Islamically is wise to avoid cousin marriage or somebody in the family, generally, you know. But we're not saying every case will give you disease, no. And some people have this disease not only from cousin marriage, you know, in their children, I mean. So I want you to be aware of these two facts today. You know, the female genital mutilation leaflet and the prison up to 14 years, and the new law in Britain today, if you are involved in forcing your daughter, forcing your son to get married, especially taking them abroad, police will catch you up to 14 years in prison. And this is Islamic, to have this normal consent of the daughter consent of the husband to be, of the wife to be. There is no force in Islam. No force even to be Muslim. No compulsion in religion. You choose, but you educate, very important, you educate your daughter who is going to get married. You educate your son who is going to get married about the Islamic ethos, about choosing the person who practices Islam. Whether daughter, girl, or son, or, a man, husband, to get married to the one who practices Islam. They are the best. We have many Muslims, but they don't practice. They are called Muslim. Abdullah and Khalid and Saeed and, but they don't practice. And we have problem in marriage today. We have a lot of divorce today. So consent of women, everything based on consent in Islam. Obviously, I know the feeling, the parent worry sometimes about consent of daughter if she is liberal. I can see their point. Up to her, if you leave it to her. If she's not educated on Islam. If she wants somebody, fashion, he doesn't pray, or he might smoke, or he doesn't practice Islam. Here a question mark need to be debated. But still you cannot force, your daughter to get married. So these two things today, I want to clear it up in the beginning, inshallah, and to make you aware of this issue. Now, British value is a hot topic in Britain today, in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, the big question, BBC One, 1 hour, about Muslim extremists, British value, doing things against Britain, etc. Not adopting the British value, And David Cameron yesterday, Prime Minister, he said, British Muslims should adopt British value. Let me say it from the beginning. We Muslims all over the world, 1,600 million Muslims will adopt only Islamic value. There are few things called British value which is in Islam, we adopt it. When you hear all this media attack on school with high Muslim children, Birmingham, Trojan horse, accusation based on Hawke's letter, and they said we couldn't find evidence for extremist activity, and they made the media all that Muslim bad, and they're going, I don't know, to stop the school, 5 schools in Birmingham. Nonsense, And 98% of children are Muslim, so they're learning their religion more and more, but they're implementing the British curriculum. They are not doing their own syllabus or curriculum, they're implementing British curriculum, And unfortunately, some people sometimes sacked or left the school, they have revenge. They write to the Department of Education. They done that, and they pick it up, Department of Education, And we couldn't believe, only a year or 1.5 years ago, they made a report about some of this school in Birmingham, full of Muslim children, they say, has got high rate, outstanding success. The Department of Education said. So anyway, coming to the issue of British value. Britain, I have to admit from now and confess, have got a lot of good things, and they are from Islam. You cannot find good thing in any society. Good thing in any society, you will find reference in Islam. So he call it British value, but we call it Islamic value. I will mention the good thing now, which we respect and we like to adopt. We do it without Cameron telling us. We learn it in our Islamic education. In school, Islamic education at home by parents, Islamic education from mosque, etc. This is what they talk about. David Cameron and all this official government, you should adopt our value. What is it? What have you got thing to teach us? Tell me. They said tolerance. My God. Muslim 99.99% were known to be peace tolerant people. Part of our teaching. Tolerate. Accept. You can advise nicely. Tolerate. Accept other people's idea. There is nothing in Islam lack of tolerance. But there is lack of tolerance now from the government to the Islamic belief, to the Islamic practice. This is very dangerous from the government, from the Department of Education. Michael Gove, who have got something against, he wrote before at the, 7/7, the bombing in London, etc., about dangerous Islam and Muslim, etc. So, tolerance is part of teaching Islam. Next, justice. Will you ever find a just religion like Islam? Justice to man, to woman, to non-Muslim, to black, to yellow, to the animal, to the neighbor. Islam based on justice. You don't need David Cameron to teach us that. And you will be lucky if you allow us to teach in school, state school, where Muslim children are many, or in faith school, other school, to teach this value. We bring to it ayah and hadith. What more do you want? We support it with ayah of hadith. You have got no support yourself when you say do that. Justice, Islam full of justice. Adala. Everything. Can anyone find me anything in Islam say Islam is unjust? I challenge. We challenge the whole world. Islam not just in this, etc. What else? Equality, of course. Equality in the eye of the law. And men and women are equal in the eye of God. But don't squeeze Christian and Muslim, because Christian feel the same, Women exactly like men. No. Anatomy, physiology, psychology, the reproduction, the breast, the period, the pregnancy, the birth have got some difference. You cannot say they are equal. And there should be regulation and law relevant, fitting with this difference. But we are equal in front of the law. And law, equality, law, abiding, yeah? It's well known the Muslim 99.99% law-abiding citizen. And we have teaching in our mosque to obey, to respect the law of the land you are living. You don't need to teach us that, David Cameron. Or you, Secretary of State, Michael Gove, who you have got agenda. We discover, unfortunately, against Islam and Muslim, etc. Respect. They say we have to teach respect. You want to teach us? We respect everybody. We respect non-Muslim. We respect black. We respect old. More than you. We respect the animal. More than you. We respect, every human being. We respect all other religion. It's part of our upbringing as Muslim believer. You don't need to teach us that. This is why we say we agree, we accept this. And he mentioned fish and chips. Funny enough, I love fish and chips. But make sure the chips is fried vegetable oil. Sometimes they use lard from pork. You have to be careful. I love it. We love fish. Fish highly regarded in Islam to eat. You're not teaching us. Islam has got all. And by the way, a lot of teaching in Christianity similar to Islam. A lot of this British value, we talk about it, you will find some basis for it also in Islam. And, this is a common 5, 6, 7 things they talk about it. They want to teach us. Who said? Who said we are not doing that as a British Muslim? We practice it. We have to do it. Part of our religious belief. Not because you said so, David Cameron. It's not like that. It's part of our Islamic religious belief. I'm still busy. I want to do article British value or God's value. I hope I can write it today, tomorrow, to send to British media. British value or God value? And I'll tell you why I put God. God to cover us Muslim and Christian and believer. And God value, my God, a lot more. To be adopted by David Cameron, Prime Minister, to be adopted by British people in Britain. I'm going to give you a quick example. And for the British is almost like a British way of life. It's accepted, it's legal, it's normal. 600 babies in the tummy of their mother are killed every day in Britain. Abortion. Ijhad. We will never adopt that. We Muslim. And we join the pro-life Christian. And SPAC, Society for Protection of Unborn Children. We will never adopt that. It's common legal British value. You, David Cameron, and your society, you and the Labour before and others, have recognized, facilitated, accepted all haram in sex, all immorality in sexuality. We will never adopt it. We will never accept this as British value. You allow it, you legalize it. Boyfriend sleeping with girlfriend, children in school, boy and girl, and mixed. They go after and sleep with each other. We have an epidemic of teenage pregnancy. She's still in school, child, and she's pregnant. We'll never adopt this British way of life. They go after for abortion. They go for birth, giving baby illegitimate, no father, no marriage. They get sexually transmitted disease. They lose their education. It's a big, horrible cycle. This is a British way of life. It's like British value. Accept it. Sleep around. Married man with a mistress. Married woman with another man. You know, affair. Affair, mistress. This is common British way of life. We will never accept it. We will not adopt it. In fact, we ask you all this, which I'm mentioning now. I only mention few. To stop it and to go back to God's value. Even I say, clearly go back to Christian value. Because the holy noble teaching of Jesus, peace be upon him, did not have all this going on in our society. Next, alcoholism. Alcoholism, binge drinking, pub, opening thousands of pubs, facilitating alcohol, especially now in alcohol and World Cup and sport and football, etc. Over 100 billion we wasting our taxpayer, my taxpayer, you Muslim taxpayer money to deal with alcohol problem. Over 100 billion. Half hospital admission, casualty, accident emergency. Half prison, criminal from alcoholism. This is a British value today. This is the way British are living, accepting it. No way. No, we will not accept it. Call us what you like. Fanatic, extremist. We will not fall in the trap. We will not destroy ourselves, our marriage, our family, our economy, our hospital with this immoral, destructive, unhealthy way of life. Old people, we are not with you, David Cameron. This way of life, British way of life. Our old mom and dad, rotten, dying, rotten in their own home from hypothermia, freezing in winter, dying, dead for weeks and months. Nobody knows at that time, living alone, suffering loneliness, depression, falling accident in the home. Our mom and dad, we look after them and save you billion. Save the government billion. We love to look after them. It's a duty, Islamic duty, to look after them. And you won't believe how much saving economy will be doing to the government if we do that. You know, you don't throw them away. You don't put them in old people home. And every few days we have a new scandal on TV, abuse of old people. Every few days, scandal, new abuse of old people. We will not adopt this British way of life. We will not. We will not adopt this British value, perhaps. You know, war, aggression, occupation of land, Muslim land, Iraq, Afghanistan. Look the result what you done in Iraq. How many hundred killed from your soldier? How many 100,000, 500,000 died innocent in Iraq. Afghanistan, how many killed? And destroying the infrastructure of Iraq and Afghanistan. They say 30 billion yesterday. They say we wasted our money. Now they're waking up. 30 billion pounds spent on Iraq. You know, and spend also a lot of money on Afghanistan. You know, this, we cannot subscribe to this British way of life to go 1,000 miles, occupy somebody land, has got different culture, different religion, they have a problem in their own. We Muslim Arabs should solve our own problem. We don't need America. We don't need Britain. This is wrong. And we're discovering their own hidden agenda in doing that. They don't do it just as a claim against terrorism. In fact, the whole issue of Qaeda, terrorism, had been invented, created to justify occupation of Muslim country. There are a lot, by the way, lately I'm becoming aware of secret film. What's behind America, you know, and NATO and the West in going to Muslim country and Muslim land, etc. Billion, my taxpayer money, billion of pounds, your taxpayer money, you British people. Look, nothing, it was wasted since 2003. Look what's happened now. Daily massacre now, killing each other, sectarian, etc. And they put puppet agent to them to be in charge of Iraq. The Americans now they're waking up. Do not do it. My humble appeal to Prime Minister, to Foreign Minister. Do not declare war on any country. You have a right self-defense. You can defend your country, no doubt. Like Muslim in Iraq, Muslim in Afghanistan have a right to defend. Occupation is forbidden in Islam. Someone to occupy my land is forbidden. You cannot do that. You know, so wake up. We Muslim, we don't accept this immoral, un-Islamic, un-Christian decision to go occupy other people's land and kill and change the culture to make it westernized and kill and maim. 500,000 people told me, like 500,000 at least, orphan in Iraq, widow, disabled, handicapped, injury, death. It was disaster. This is why one should support to stop the war coalition as they do in Britain, etc. We cannot accept war and occupying this British value. You involve in it. Prime Minister and the biggest one who caused all the mess, Tony Blair, the previous Prime Minister. Now, he doesn't know what to say. He come on television, fabricate funny idea, unacceptable to the people in the West. You know, sex, sex outside marriage will not accept it. If it is your way of life, British value, marriage, man to man, woman to woman, will not accept it. Like millions of Christians, we are working with them now here in Britain. If you consider, you legalize it, David Cameron, early this year. You call it like British value now. No way. It's a hell value. Allah made it natural, traditional marriage between man and woman to be successful. Porn, immoral sex education in school. This is horrible British way of life. Pornography, still. You haven't done much, David Cameron. You're doing a little bit, lip service, to stop all millions of children watching alone. Haram, immoral sex film. In detail. What they do, man and woman, man and man. Will not accept this British way of life. For your own For your own sake, David Cameron, for the sake of your society. You know, immoral sex education in school, cohabitation in marriage, we'll never accept it. It's normal, it's legal, by David Cameron, by British way of life. Is a British value? No way. We will not accept it. You know, broken family, broken marriage, very high. Family disintegrated now, family coming in various form now, single parent, two same-sex family, marriage, etc. We stick to the Christian, Jewish, Islamic way of marriage. Man and woman registered, recognized in the eye of God in front of public, man and woman. We will not accept neglect to neighbor. It's horrible today. Neighbor, do not talk to neighbor. Also one of 10 commandments to look after your neighbor. It's not done. You see program now on television every week, Channel 5, neighbor from hell. Neighbor kill neighbor. Neighbor persecute neighbor. Neighbor doesn't know what the old lady next door to him, if she need help or not. This is not the British way of life to be accepted, or the British value. We will not accept racism and discrimination. Some they declare it, some they keep it. A lot of people, by the way, in the West, white people, European, Western, they have inside frequently racism against Muslim, against black, against, you know, this affect the decision, the relationship, the job opportunity, etc., etc. We cannot accept that. And we don't accept also lack of morality in all job. Every now and then you hear about abuse of money. From top parliament, member of parliament, abuse of expense, to company, to bank, to a big list. We will not adopt this British value, gambling. No way. No way. Destroying people, marriage, society, leading to suicide, depression. I'm glad there is only one church campaign against gambling, Methodist Church. And Muslims should support this church. Methodist Church against gambling. It's the only one. And this is true Christian teaching against gambling. We will not accept the concept of interest and shark loan and riba. We will not accept it. Shark loan, people committing suicide. They have loan and with interest. The interest multiply 100 times. They crack up. They go mental. They become alcoholic. They commit suicide. We will not accept this British way of life as a Muslim. We will not accept also this cruel way of slaughtering animal with stunning electric shock. Cruelty. And we discover it can give us, we Muslim, many haram. Some animal die, you cannot eat it after. If you slaughter blood inside the meat of the animal, you cannot eat it. We discover many haram because of electric shock, stunning. Cruel, barbaric way. Animals should not be suffering at moment of death. We will not accept women in Britain, in Europe, in the West, sex object. The whole TV, the whole magazine, the whole newspaper, page 3, son, every day, million, they have to see naked woman, half naked woman. I'm glad there is a lady making campaign against to stop page 3 in the Sun, etc. We will not accept women to be sex object, reflected in all media, on the road, poster, magazine, no way, to sell shoes, naked woman to sell shoes, photo of woman on shoes, on nail varnish, photo of woman on dishwasher, on sex, they bring you sex, see lady, this is disgusting. This is insulting to women. We will not accept that. We have a lot more really to say. And all these are non-Islamic, which are flourishing in Britain. And all this, by adopting God value, will disappear. Ya salam. So Muslims should not be just defensive. They should come on offensive. They should speak up about all this so-called British way of life, considered like British value, to remind the Prime Minister, to remind the government this is wrong and we will not accept it. Now let me move to another subject. Today, I was looking to the independent newspaper today, a very good big article by famous doctor who come on television frequently, Lord Professor Robert Winston. Professor Robert Winston used to deal with fertility clinic when he used to work in Hammersmith Hospital in London. He became after lecturer and producer of program on TV and children. He title of his big article today about jungle infertility. Jungle. Things are done, he stated clearly, for profit. Not because the best for family to have children. Jungle. Fertility. Based on what? You know what we say? IVF, in vitro fertilization. IVF, test tube baby. How they propagate the business, doctor, to get money. He's attacking that. And he says there are a lot of other alternatives. We should not jump to that. And very costly. And high failure rate. And some studies say it causes abnormality in children if they are conceived, etc. Beautiful topic. I hope people wake up. But I add to it, they don't care. He doesn't care about halal haram. I add to it, as a Muslim doctor, you cannot do egg donation in Islam. Someone to donate egg. The egg of the wife only has to be used in marriage. You cannot get sperm from another man, not from the husband. They do it today in fertility and IVF. And some Muslims do not know, especially from Arab. They go to Holy Street. They have fertility problem. We discover doctors do not tell them this is from somebody outside. They cheat, they lie, and give the Muslim Arab illegitimate child. They don't know that. So we don't accept that. We don't accept, egg donation or surrogate mother, etc. So there's a lot more to add about this issue of fertility. As I advise people to read it, and he mentioned the failure of Human Fertilization Embryology Authority. And I like him also today, he attacks this new issue which we have been asking people to do response to government 3 weeks ago, mitochondria replacement. 3 parent children, child with mother, father, and another mother who gave something from her egg to the woman who is his mother. So mixed up, 3 parents. And he said it clearly, we oppose it, is not wise and no enough evidence it's going to work, and we support him. I love to see Muslim today and Muslim doctors especially to send letter to the editor, to the Independent, to say we support Lord Winston in his fascinating and highly scientific article and study. By the way, Lord Winston, Robert Winston, I admire him when he was talking in House of Lords. They were discussing halal meat. They were Jew, Muslim, a member of House of Lords. He defended beautifully the traditional religious method of slaughter, Jew, which is like Muslim. No stunning, no electric shock. He talked scientifically about keeping the religious method of slaughter without this electric shock and stunning and captive bolt pistol, electric water bath for the chicken, etc. He said, keep traditional religious slaughter. He's highly scientist in Britain. And he brought evidence from EEG recording, etc., about no feeling of pain. The man knows what he's talking about. He's highly qualified. And obviously he's basically originally he's the Jew defending the kosher religious slaughter. We accept his defense was beautiful. We supported him. And I supported him in his talk about the big business exposing today. The big business. The big profit. They do treatment of infertility not for the best for the patient, for money. And poor patient, they have no idea. And they don't know. And cheating and cheating and cheating. Money, money, money. So this is good to remember, inshallah. And to stick. Obviously, in Islam, you're allowed to have fertility treatment, but as a last resort, and not to do it for profit, because doctors push always profit, private. They push you to do things, by and large, not all of them, but by and large. They push to get profit, to do this IVF, vitro, etc. And as I said, most IVF test tube baby based on egg donation, sperm donation. Haram. You cannot do that in Islam. And Muslim doctors should not get involved, because many Muslim doctors are Muslim by name, unfortunately. And they adopt the Western way in medical practice. You know, we need to be careful about that. Now, the other thing I was going to mention, really, the final thing, a lot of report lately about fasting, new medical discovery on fasting. So maybe I will leave it for next time, inshallah. Thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.